Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last episode, we met with the Iris Wilson. She's 10 years old. Yeah, I noticed 10 years old and got to know more about her. Now we're investigating stuff about Natsume, I think? And now we're gonna be meeting with Mr. Sholmes, I guess in Mr. Natsume's room, I think. Ooh, a cat. 19th of February, Mr. Natsume's room. What? Just look at this place. And smell it. It's so musty in here. I suppose it's the mountains of old books that are responsible for that. I don't think I've ever seen so many books all in my life. No, meat eater. It's so dark in here, too. Is that the window over there? Well, it was the window, I think, once upon a time. But for some reason, it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. So this is where Mr. Natsume lives. By the way, I haven't spotted Mr. Sholmes anywhere, have you? No, that's true, but according to what Mr. Garrett told us, the great detective should be around here somewhere investigating. Alright, let's examine the area. Investigate theory, but can't find anything out of place. Oh look, it's a beckoning cat from home. It's a bit big in bulk, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsume didn't bring that Maneki Neko all the way from Japan with him. I hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you forgetting that enormous Daruma doll that you brought in your luggage? Well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad, but I wanted a lucky charm. Well, I imagine Mr. Natsume wanted the same, and this cat is sure to beckon good luck to him. It's not doing a very good job so far, is it? Just because you mustn't say such things. I didn't say a word. Why are my eyes such a giveaway? Look at all those books stacked up there. They almost reach the ceiling. They're all works of English literature, and they all smell so musty. With this volume of books to hand, you'd never be short of reading material, would you? No, what a dreamy idea. Not bad dream, maybe, for me at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the book that's at the bottom of the pile now will ever be read again. So reading is an experience that comes from once in a lifetime, as the tea ceremony teaches us. I certainly didn't expect the conversation to turn down a path of tea ceremony philosophy. What else is here? The window. Could you even call this a window? I think so. It was a window at one time, after all. Although, all that remains is a frame around some bricks now. So really, it's just a wall then, isn't it? Why would anyone deliberately brick it up like that? I'm afraid I have no idea. Perhaps Mr. Natsume painted a brick design in a fit of whimsy? That's alarmingly feasible. Anyway, whatever the reason, the lack of ventilation in here makes the place very oppressive. It does. I imagine being cooped up in a room like this would be extremely trying. Okay. I'm gonna raise up the amp on my mic. That desk seems to be wedged into a crevice between the mountains of books on either side. I suppose Mr. Natsume would sit there and read while stroking his cat. But surrounded on all sides by these towering old tomes, surely he dreamt of books every night as well. Yes, but he must have done, mustn't he? Oh, what's this? It's a receipt from the second-hand bookshop. Your books. Oh yes, Mr. Natsume's name is on it. Look, the date of the purchase. 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m. That's the day of the incident. That's just a short while before he was embroiled in the terrible attack. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books. Second-hand book receipt. Before the incident occurred. Interesting. Let me see this. 4:45 p.m. Mr. Natsume. Sum of 2 shillings. Receipt of. Picture of Monsieur Lecoq. A meal of Gabbro. Canterbury yearnings. I wonder if this will be brought up in the trial. I hope. Meow. It's a cat. It just walked away. Oh my, what adorable little cat. Perhaps he's looking at all the books while his master's away? I don't know about that. He disappeared into that pile of books as quick as a flash. It was a tricolor Mikey, wasn't it? Do they even have that sort of cat here in Great Britain? Perhaps Mr. Natsume brought the little creature with him from Japan. That made me feel homesick now. Already? We've only been in the country for 2 days. Naruhodo already feels homesick. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Alright, let's talk to you. Ah, look, it's Mr. Naruhodo. Aha! There he is. Where did he appear from? Seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope you won't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Sholmes! Ah, you two. Good day. Now, let me see. What was it that we met? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, we were together on the SS Beria. Yes, of course, the SS Beria. And let me see. What happened on that voyage? It was Asogi. He died tragically. But you were a great help to us. Ah, yes, of course, the case of Mr. Asogi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it? No, you idiot. Oh. Well, you seem to remember something of it, at least. What an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Herlock Sholmes. This is Mr. No, my dear matter, hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain attic. Mr. Naruhodo, Miss Naruhodo, and Mr. Susanoo. Well, opposite, but fuck it. Try the other way around, Mr. Sholmes. I lose the first round. Apparently, I can never get what Miss and Mr. is. In trip, I hope to invite you both to my Baker Street suite the day we arrived in London. But some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to the crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 30 minutes. So they apprehended Soseki-san that short amount of time? I'm afraid that pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvements a little. A little? It is a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls and can distend my any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they should elbow out the useful ones. Ah, yes, those are my own words of inimitable wisdom, you know, from an adventure entitled A Study in Scarlet. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately, my associate pens them beautifully. He means Iris, I suppose? Mr. Sholmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned. Oh, goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear matter, I should only two, please. And this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case. We noticed we are lodgings of a Japanese forum student by the name of Soseki Natsume. It seems that the assistant is arrested Mr. Sholmes for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road. Natsume. Yes, I believe it was a name rather along those lines. But Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little? I'm sorry, Mrs. Sato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean. What? I can't believe he was looking for Susato-san squarely in the eye. while feigning ignorance. I assure you I am not feigning ignorance. It would appear that if the pair of you are under some misapprehension. Oh, how? I assure you that I have no recollection of accusing your astute compatriot of the crime. But that doesn't make sense. The good detective Scotland Yard made the following request to me, and I quote verbatim. Wait. Great God. Okay, my bad. I can never tell who's talking. We need to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene. A man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement at the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshelf for which they had been purchased. And speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there's a receipt around here from somewhere from the establishment in question. So you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit then? That I cannot tell you. But it's aggravating my faculties, hence why I return here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books, I found myself quite lost in bibliophilia. Do not be deceived into believing I am a man of leisure. Oh, no, no, no. Oh dear. Ah, tell me. Have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yes, Mr. Garadeb, a retired military man. It was the first time I ever met a soldier from the Great British Institution, that is, the services. And it was the first time I ever met a maid from the Great British Institute, that is, service. I didn't think it was that funny. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid. Yes, I read as much as in my Great Britain primer. And so, conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of dwelling therein. Betoken their social standing, sorry? But simply, my dear, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family. Goodness, how extraordinary. As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. I had no idea. Interesting. And it's precisely that reason I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Specifically in the retired army veteran Mr. John Garadeb. Oh? Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Yeah, it was pretty obvious. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am yet unable to ascertain. I am thoroughly lost in what he means to say. Dingy room. This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you any man who's lot to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later. Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one. Ah, but sooner or later, as I said. I don't believe that's the issue here. About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. It's completely blocked with bricks. Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. Window tax? What is it? Wait, seriously? A window tax? Thank God we don't have a window tax in America. Poggers. Surely, not a tax on windows? Precisely that. Oh my goodness. Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by a number of their windows. Those of lesser means have an inherited, sizable, and costly family home, perhaps, rapidly close windows up, while the rich open windows here, there, and everywhere. In an effort to curry favor those it would empower by furnishing them with large sums of tax money. How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light. Indeed, disease was rife as a result. So some 40 years ago, thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. The legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps? It would appear so. I've done little digging, and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price. Because the room was so awful, I should think. Apparently, Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. Oh? Still, that is of little relevance here. A matter not worthy of further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Well, I believe I told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of the law? You remembered that, did you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? I'm not sure. Not sure? What grounds? Well, I actually defended someone in court only here yesterday. Really? Well then, I congratulate you, sir, on the ambition realized. So promptly, too. The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? Yes, trust. Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea. Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? Ah, yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts I can say quite evocatively. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room, and there are witnesses who swear to have seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, what is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us. I cannot say with any certainty that whether or not is it relevance to this case, but I'm quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Garadeb is... Mr. Sholmes shit as much as before, actually, didn't he? Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruhodo, as yet our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence. No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probe a little deeper into Mr. Garadeb's secret. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be relevant or not. But I wish you every success of your course, Mr. Naruhodo. Busy man indeed. He's gone back to his room in the corner of the room. Mr. Sholmes. Yes, so true. To be or not to be. That is indeed the question. That is indeed the question, Mr. Naruhodo. To be or not to be brushed off, that is the question, and the answer is all too clear. Let's leave Mr. Sholmes in peace, shall we? I guess I guess we go back to Garadeb's room. We need to talk to them a bit more.
Ah, you pair again. Tell me, was there Detective Jack? Forget his name. Still hard work down there.
Mr. Herlock Sholmes?
Ah, yes. Rings a bell. vague, Belle. All that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid.
Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there.
Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, Joel. Now then, why don't you tell me what— For the umpteenth time, woman, will you watch what you're bloody well doing?
I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir.
Yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me. I'm afraid I shall ask you to take your leave, if you'd be so kind.
Oh, yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for your— We need info out of them. They're clearly hiding something.
Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourselves. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out.
According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrett is hiding something. Since no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment, perhaps we should do some digging. Why? Sorry for being loud, but why is he at a window? What's he doing over there? Mr. Sholmes. Aha, we meet again, my dear fellows.
Gracious, when did you sneak in here?
Sherlock Sholmes, sir, is at your servant. Whatever are you doing over by the window? I'm giving to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madam. And yet, sadly cheerful as the room downstairs, undoubtedly it lacks an aperture for such observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space by the window up here.
Wow.
Keep an eye out to one's windows at dusk is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. And one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, me? I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective's great mind. Are we gonna do a deduction? Wait, he's not talking about, is he? I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon. Do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? There is mighty secret in this modern room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naru. I think so? There's just enough for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let us conclude the matter before dark. Oh, alright, here we go. Mr. Garadeb, although it would seem you're a military man of considerable distinguished service, your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what might call first rate. I'm afraid, sir, that is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I've been drawn by careful observation of your living arrangements.
I beg your pardon?
The first is that even as you speak, you're concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. Mr. Naruhodo, look. Old man's broken out of a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Sholmes' conclusions are both spot on.
How could you possibly— How?
How could I possibly know? You mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For the dense jungle of logic and reasoning. I am the king of beasts. And I only know too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Sherlock Sholmes proud present Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Nature of the beast. It certainly should take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? For a man with military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid.
Aye.
Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrett, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast has run rampant here, as viewed by the lion statue. Yes, though an army man, you appear imposing at best. A fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts.
What is this piffle, I ask you?
In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house.
What?
Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. The chilling traces of our wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Whoa! And yet, as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it's plain to me that with one glance in your direction, it is. Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as the beast's current whereabouts, for protruding from it from a handle advertising a circus show. Oh! You sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Garrett. A baddie circuits, a traveling show currently still joining at a nearby park. I have observed the tents. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe.
I most certainly did not.
I believe I have made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion. And a simple visit to the circus now revealed a lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. Conclusion: a rampaging Asiatic lion. Topic number 2: Aftermath. Now, Mr. Garadeb, it's plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, that blight pose and the distress this loss has caused you is verbally tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Amid that fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear is clearly visible in your visage.
Nonsense! I simply...
But what? We must now ask ourselves, is that the true cause of this pain? And we need only follow the conclusion to your gaze up to find the answer. Yes, it's this pile of bills that's giving rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. Oh! For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeling your beloved has a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. And so you had no choice but to let it go.
Yes, well,
Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath, which can be clearly seen by the carpet over there. I did not see that. Very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, dearie me! What could have caused such a destructive outburst? Oh! This time, madam, I'm afraid it's you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wondering eye has set upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we only need to look at the Tower of Cakes. Oh! There is no creature that's more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Or was it not once only said by a certain noblewoman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact. Whatever do you mean? Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There's only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. In conclusion, carpet gnawed on by the starving lion. Looks like we gotta fix this, do we? Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this beastly puzzle. We're speechless right now.
What is the matter with you, Joan? You're pulling Scoldheart teeth all over me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garrett. I'm afraid I didn't notice. Again, my deductions can be certainly sharp. It stands to reason that your cut runneth over. Indeed, my relations can make people spill tears at times, too. Oh!
Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in again, but can I make an observation?
Why, certainly, Mr. Nara. What is it again? Well, your deductions just now, do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room of this size? Indeed, is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense. But wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of the common sense as well? But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Geradev and his maid would have been hurt or worse. Ah, that's where you are stuck. Know that the former military man held his own against the beast in that using that large. I thought you said they sold the lion to the circus. And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are the one thing. I don't believe I have ever heard a lion that drinks tea. Ah, my dear Mr. Sod, hears me with some regularity. That irrespective that race of breeding, wherever anyone lands on Great British soil, they are infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea. Oh, what a glorious notion. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again. I had a feeling that was coming. A slight massage, that's all for Mr. Sholmes' deductions needs. You can do it. Yay! Let's do our best. I like that pose she did. Excellent, I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. We don't even know yet whether or not this is going to help Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least that's what I want to believe. Let us start again. From the beginning of Sherlock Holmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Alright. While he's gonna talk, we're gonna see one of the stops. What is he really staring at? That's the question. I don't think it's the gold lion. Yep. Not the lion statue. Alright, here we go. I really didn't see the lion thing coming. No, but if you deserve Mr. Garadeb's reaction, it rather seems as though some beasts did indeed run amok here in this room. Yes, something with a very fierce nature, but it couldn't have been a lion transported from India. So what was it then? We must follow Mr. Garadeb's days. That will lead us to the true answer. Well, this is the lion section of Mr. Sholmes pick out. Yes, I wonder. Perhaps you did live with the lion, it would prove to be a rather sweet companion. I think. That's what like a mouse trying to tell its family that the cat around the house is sweet. I suppose it is a bit of a flight of fancy, isn't it? Anyway, the beasts were looking for something else. Let's have a good look around. Mortar shells. What's this? Is there anything else? Photograph frame. Interesting. These are shells for the cannon, are they? What a strange place to keep them. I imagine they have some significance to Mr. Geradev from his time in the army. Ah, of course, he mentioned a boat battle to us before, didn't he? Do you remember? He said that he'd been shot in the knee. Perhaps it was one of these that hit him? If a round that size had hit his knee, there'd be nothing left of it. Or Mr. Garadeb, for that matter. Mr. Shom had a Persian slipper. And this man spent shells. Perhaps it's customary to in Britain to display, well, rubbish on the mantelpiece. Hope we can... Well, what? This other side. Anything here? Alright, let's just check the photograph. What is this photograph? It appears from Mr. Garadeb's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he? He does, but you can't make out his bride. No, how fortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face. I wonder what happened. Best not to delve too deeply there. This must have been when Mr. Garadeb was still in the army. He seems to be carrying his rather stout bride effortlessly and beaming smile at the same time. Suppose he was very strong in his younger. Hard to imagine now he is as thin as a rake. The glass is broken, so you can't see the bride's face at all. No amount of cracks could hide the woman's plump form. Thick, powerful would be kinder than plump, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, she certainly looks that. There's a lot of horsepower there. Not someone you want to upset, that's for sure. Oh look, have you noticed her wedding ring? It's very large, isn't it? Yes, that's an unusual design. It looks like some sort of embellished sunflower. Interesting. Alright. Alright. I think we have to do it inside the photograph. I feel like if I say photograph, I might get it wrong. Newlywed wed bride? Maybe she's a beast. Fuck it. Alright. This might be a stretch, but if I get this wrong, I'll just go back to the photograph and just present it. Newlywed bride, eh? The true nature of the beast has run rampant here is revealed by that newlywed bride. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit, even though you replaced my words. Yes, this frame print pictures your wife, Mr. Garadeb. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make out her mighty arms and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Indeed, surely any woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a beast. Honored might be stretching a point. Too late, the fact remains that the beast which so clearly savaged this room was your wife, Mr. Garadeb. The chilling trace of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Whoa! As we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Or could this angry creature have disappeared too? Madam? Me? Pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it's plain to me one glance in your direction. Okay. Yeah, I think that's wrong. The poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself. Well, I don't know about fragile. Oh dear. Anyway, Mr. Sholmes is quite right. There's no sign of a Mrs. Garadeb here. What seems to be made a clue to their whereabouts. A clue that his mate is trying to hide. I wonder what Mr. Garadeb's wife could be. I thought this was pretty obvious. Too tightly shut eyes to avoid even a chance of a giveaway glance. Her sued lips to prevent any secrets from slipping out. Rounded cheeks to deflect any abuse that might be hurled her way. Yes, this is an unnervingly powerful woman, Mr. Sato. It's your turn to a phrase that's unnerving, Mr. Naruhodo. What a charming little teapot. It's in its pristine condition. Joan has been pouring some delicious fragrant tea for Mr. Garadev, hasn't she? Even though she keeps spilling it on him. She keeps spilling the tea all over him so many times. Well, not so much for Mr. Garadev as on Mr. Garadev, wouldn't you say? I wouldn't dream of drawing attention to it. I wonder if there's anything in the back. That certainly does appear to be a circus handbill poking out from her pocket. Batty's Circus, but currently performing shows in a park not from here. You don't think? Surely Mr. Garrett didn't sell his wife to the circus? Mr. Naruhodo, how could he even think such a thing? I was only joking. 'Twas a joke. Besides, I would have gone with, do you think he fed her to his pet lion? That's somehow worse. There's something bothering me. Yeah. Is that the same ring from the photo? Yeah, that's what I noticed. She's wearing a... She's the wife. She's wearing a very large ring. Look. Oh yes, a sunflower design with some rather nice embellishments. It's on the ring finger on her left hand, which means it's surely a wedding ring. It looks like it's on there for life too. I can't imagine she would slide off a finger of that size. That's something to think, Mr. Naruhodo, not to say. Do you know, Mr. Garadeb's wife in that photograph had a ring very much like this one? It was a large sunflower design as well. Really? You have a great memory for these things. A large sunflower wedding ring. It's quite coincidence that they might have the same ring, isn't it? Oh, is it really? Let's present this. Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Oh. Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. For it's identical to the one shown in the hand of Mr. Garadeb's bride in the photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. No. You are Mr. Garadeb's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Garadeb herself. Oh my word!
Well, jolly fine detective, sir. As you rightly surmised, this is my wife. Yes, my Joan. Rather let herself go, you might say she was a bally cop.
It would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. You calling her fat? God damn it, Garadeb. You really gonna call her fat? There's nothing wrong being fat. Well, except for my brother. I have a problem for him being fat. But anyways, after you are a retired army man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms. You heard that, Jared, do you? Ignore what my brother said to me. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct?
It's not right, I tell you. I was second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. Man has his pride, don't you know? But golly, sorry thing with a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ.
Ah, yes, here in London, what is rather judged. I also cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. No one might consider opinion such concerns about appearances are a folly. You mean Mr. Garrideb has his wife work as his maid? Precisely, am I right, Mr. Garrideb?
Only in company, obviously, but listen here, this must remain a secret. Tip-top secret, please.
Your wife's a maid. In conclusion, the raging wife of Mr. Garrideb. Solved. Alright, let's head to topic number 2. Yep. Alright, we're gonna have to fix the deduction. Supporting arm. Well, Mr. Sholmes is quite something. Still calling Mr. Garrideb's wife a beast. If you're fat, you're called a beast. No, that's fucked up, sir. You can't say that. Well, the game is saying that. Yes, as a woman, that feels rather uncomfortable. But Mrs. Garrideb is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? Oh, how true. So perhaps that supporting arm to be propping up his head has some other significance then. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrideb's pain isn't tangible, though. What could possibly his really signify? Oh my! Look at that red... Is that a slap to the face? Gosh, that's quite something. Clearly made by somebody's hand. Yes, Mr. Garrett has been slapped on the face, it seems. Hard. Never seen such a clearly defined mark. Whoever could have done such a thing? Well, there's a very limited number of candidates, I say. Pipe. It's a very large pipe, isn't it? Yes, anyone who has something that size hanging out of his or her mouth on a regular basis is sure to have a serious chin like Mr. Garrideb's. Well, what's that white binding around it all about? Mr. Garrideb certainly looks glum. According to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, that's because he's having to endure the acute pain of losing something dear to him. And we know he hasn't lost his wife, so that means there must be another cause for the pain he's suffering. Alright, let's present the slap cheek. Alright. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders. The pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek. And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek refuses to fade. Was you Madame Joan Garrideb? Well, yes. You have been desperate to hide that slap mark on your cheek, sir.
Rah!
No wonder he was like that pose.
How the blazes did you work that out, man?
Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. Keep your other side from view.
Well,
Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why you were subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Mr. Adam Garrideb to fly into a rage. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Ah, yes, it's this pile of bills that's given rise to the pain you suffer. Didn't Mr. Sholmes say that the bills were all for the lion fodder? Yes, but now we have established that the lion never existed. Which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was Mr. Garrideb's wife. Mr. Naruhodo, she's a person, not a thing. Jeez, why are we making fun of her? Of her being fat, jeez. Yes, well. She's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap around the face. One so hard that it left a perfect hand mark, in fact. Yes, why would a woman want to hit her husband with such a force, I wonder? I'd love to know the answer to that question. Oh. Looking at all these bills, it certainly amounts to a great deal of food. Meat and potatoes by the cartload, wasn't it? Well, looking at the two of them, you can tell immediately who eats the lion's share in this household. We're no longer talking about an actual lion anymore. Okay. Broken plate. Oh dear, this plate has been smashed to pieces, and nobody seemed inclined to tidy up the mess. Perhaps it's some sort of high art. Really, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, anyone who has a cannon on display in their living room is clearly a little eccentric. Yes, let's call it eccentricity. Bookmark. Someone is reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here, look. There is clearly an avid reader. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. Oh no, so it isn't. So it's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, NTR? Don't be... Oh, no, 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 no. Please, for the love of God, no NTR. I'm not one for NTR storylines, but it just makes me sad if I see NTR. And look next to the signature here, lip marks. Made with lipstick. What a passionate and romantic gesture. Don't get any ideas, Susato-san. Oh dear, I'm sorry. So this bookmark is actually a love note then. Love notes. Alright. Alright, I've adjusted myself. Let's present the love note. Yes, this love note has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, how I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. Perhaps the center of this note? Certain Miss Mary is from the fly in the ointment here. I don't know the Bally woman. You don't know her. That note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there. It was just in there, you say? That's right. That's what I meant to say. A likely story. Now, listen here, Joe, old thing. I explained at the time. I bought the book at that second-hand place, and that note must have been already there. So the previous owner of that book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean? That's what I've been saying. I've been messing up the what? A likely story. For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name. It's written to James. My name is in case you forgot, it's John. Stop it. Please stop. A likely story. Are you questioning my name now? Boof. And there we have it. Arouse the suspicions of the female heart, you unleash a beast with a most ferocious bite. Now, in final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken. Oh dearie me! What could have caused such a destructive outburst? Oh! This time, madam, it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eyes settle upon the very answer you very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we only need to look at our yet. Last one, I think. But surely Mr. Garrett didn't eat the carpet. No, of course not. But there doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray that this room is in a result of her wild temper. No, that's true. So this is the last part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction that we need to fix. We don't need to follow Mr. Garrett's gaze. And that will tell us the real answer. Alright, let's see what we can see. Yes. So many cakes. Ha, is that all you can think about? Well, look at them, Naruhodo. There's a mountain of them. They look so delicious. It's more of a tower than a mountain, I say. It's a mountain. It's my hope that one day, in our very homeland, I will be able to perform the tea ceremony at the foot of such a mountain. It's definitely a tower. Is that a candle? The carpet here has been ripped to shreds, and according to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, the tears match those of an Indian's lion's teeth exactly. Oh, look here. What is it? If you look closely at the edge, you can see the scorch marks. Oh yes, so you can. In that case, perhaps the carpet wasn't eaten in the normal sense at all? Let's rethink with that in mind. Circus handbill. This is an advertising handbook for the circus. Batty's Circus in nearby park. Isn't this the same one that we saw earlier? The one with the folded up with Mr. Garrett's pocket? Perhaps that very great circus lovers? It couldn't be that hungry lion is somehow involved again here, could it? Oh dear, I do hope not. Candlestick. This looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it? The base looks too small, surely it's very unstable. Looks to me even the slightest knock would make it topple over. Oh dear, that would be dangerous. Wait, take a closer look at this. There's one candle missing. Yes, I didn't notice that before. Why is that, I wonder? Why is one of the candle of the three missing from its hidden? Alright, boys, we're gonna present the candlestick. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. I pressed the wrong button, that's why. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the candlestick. Most illuminating, my dear fellow, and of course, the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth. Yes, the remnants of the ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Indeed they are. The scorch marks of the edge clearly give the truth away. Scorch marks? It would appear that this room was the scene of a little marital altercation. Mrs. Garrett's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, boof, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused a candle to fall from the ceiling. And in seconds, the carpet was alight and the corner of the room in flames. Yes, For the most ferocious beast in the world is neither violent lion nor a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow. As you see, there's one conclusion here. After the sparks of martial discord flew, the room was the scene of the fire. Oh, he's standing. Mr. Sholmes, sir. I salute you! In conclusion, carpet scorched by a small fire. Solved. Deduction complete. It's elementary. Very easy. Easy.
It's dash long. What internet, you know? Nothing we do with read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. My all my old novels there.
In the pages of one particular number, you discover some rather illicit material. For which your wife had admonished you harshly, I think.
Don't know about demolish might be rather closer to the mark. And Beats is most certainly apt to.
Here we go again. And the carpet. Was that destroyed by a fire when the candle fell on the floor?
Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place is filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. I was caught between the old stick's rage and the raging flames.
You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining. That's simply for you?
Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. Had to hide the mess behind a screen for the time being.
Over here, Mr. Garrideb? Well, you have nothing more to hide now if you'll allow me. Oh.
Had all my favorite old novels in that case. But as soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh. Up in smoke.
Gosh.
The wife started hurling things at me.
What a terrible sight it must have been.
There was I, back up against the window, under heavy enemy fire, incendiary books incoming 10 to the dozen. Worst of all is I lost my favorite book called The Lion's Pride.
The Lion's Pride. Ah, yes, your notorious love of big cats coming through again.
I assure you the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest.
So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the ferocious beast's rampage. So Sholmes' deductions turned out to be correct once again. It can only be described as a great British wonder.
I tell you, it was total carnage, flames everywhere, and the old stick in full fettle.
Out of interest, what time of day was that?
Not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see, around 5 o'clock, I think.
So exactly at the same time as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window in the street below?
Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. Whole a blighty could have been flattened outside my window at that moment, and I wouldn't have noticed dash the thing.
Oh, really? Is that it? Mr. Sholmes. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo, what can I do for you? Well, I think we got to the bottom of Mr. Garrideb's situation now. Well, what does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances? I can't help you there, I'm afraid. What? My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much as from the outset. I warned you that, although I knew the retired army man to be hiding something, I could not be sure whether his secret would prove of be relevance or not. I just knew you were going to say that. Now, Mr. Nara, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one of two categories, those relevant to the case and those not. That makes no sense to me. Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your mind now. Sorry? Visiting hours at the prison will be over soon. Oh no, is it that time already? If we're to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have to official paperwork to attend to. So that's it. No more time to think. Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell now. I must prepare supper for Mr. Garrideb. Oh yes, I'm so sorry. Sorry guys, my voice really hurts now. I think we're at an hour recording. My voice really hurts. Thank you both so much for your time. Seki-san will be waiting for us. I'm going to have to give him an answer. Alright. Head to the prison, I guess. Oops, sorry guys, excuse me. Time, Mr. Naruto, we must hurry back to the prison. Yes, I know, let's hurry up. Oh. What's the matter? Looks like something going on there in front of Mr. the Gyardeb's house. Oh! I dee not, old man, thou thy prayers.
How are you going, an old man, you rum-looking neeminy-peeminy?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio. There are dreams in your philosophy. I'm just gonna give him this voice.
Who's this Horatio fella, eh? What are you talking on about?
Excuse me.
What the? Who are you now?
I'm sorry, it just looked as though there might be some problem here. And my associate here, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see.
A lawyer? What?
If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I have to study English law.
Shh. Fine, I'll be on my way for today. But you mark my words. This ain't over yet.
What the fuck is that pose? Get thee to a nunnery.
Do I look like a bloomin' nun to you?
What a weird set of people. I hope you're not injured. Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle. Thank you. What was that all about? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio. Thing deep in your philosophy. I'm not Horatio either. Forgive the inquiry, sir, but are you a lodger here in the Gyardeb residence? Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. So Gyardeb mentioned he had another lodger, didn't he? This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor? Ah, yes, a gentleman named Natsume. Oh, more worthy of polemics in my battle of words near could there be. Sorry, battle, did you say? Who is the stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume, I have spared long into the night. I see. I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at least. So, fair maiden, so good gentlemen, I tarry here no longer. Fare thee well. Well, that is a person. I didn't really understand, but I think he's returned to his room. Seems he's unaware of what happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. So Seki's son and that manager as lodgers? The Gyardeb house is full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go find a carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly waiting our return. Let's hope we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over. (19th of February, 9:31 p.m. Local prison cell 9. Oh, it's you. You're here. You came. Local student, Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. Can't believe you came back. I'm so touched. We are so sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Natsume. Oh, no, think nothing of it. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, never failing Nipponese! Oh, now let's not get carried away. Oh, I quite agree. There's nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. On the other hand, his sterling friendship transcending international borders, one truly appreciates the fact. Such is my belief, at least. Oh, it's, yes, it's you! You the miserable, rotten spy! Sherlock Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here? I have no intention of doing anything per se. Save observing, of course. Whatever you mean, Mr. Sholmes. Well, having encountered some curious reading material that gloom for room, and having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how my divested friend is faring. Gloom for room. At least your accommodation here offers a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, is the superior option. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight. It cost me not a penny. Ah, you! How dare you! Sherlock Sholmes! Well, I've had it. I'm done, I'm at the end of my rope. I should never have come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings. No doubt my luck will be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life is be damned! What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? He mentioned that once before, didn't he? That his lodgings were cursed, I mean. And there is much truth in Mr. Mustache's words. What? Curse is a wholly appropriate description, I would say. For a man's lodgings, and indeed for the tomorrow's trial. What's that supposed to mean? Do you think the people in that hotel have something to do with him? Mr. Natsume, what do you mean by what you just said just now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed? Oh no, why? Why are you looking so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it. Oh, I see. That's really agitated him. You don't mean that trial really is cursed somehow? Are you referring to the prosecutor, the Reaper of the Bailey? The Reaper? No, oh no. What do you mean? Please, tell me. Summarize it succinctly in 16 salient words. No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution, ever. Oh my goodness, can it be really true? That was 16 words exactly. Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper, but then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. He just died in a fire, sadly. Mr. McGilded. What? I am impressed, Mr. Sato. You have an eye for detail. Actually, this Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Sholmes, surely it can't be that, having failed the accused convicted, Lord Von Zeeks killed the man himself? No! No! Why would he kill him? Why? What motive would he have to kill him, anyway? After all, he also wanted to find out the truth. Even I was trying to figure out the truth from Mr. McGilded. And he didn't, oppose to it whatsoever. Oh no, he couldn't have, surely. You have some wonderful notions. Sorry? A man isn't a mass murderer, he's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow. Oh yes, why of course he is. Oh, of course he is. Then, why are you trying to scare me? Could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis. What on earth do you mean by that? The Reaper. Von Zeeks is a quite exceptional man, however, in London courts of law. Exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception. Oh, that's not good. Saseki-san looks like he's gonna cry tears of joy. As you are no doubt aware, in a British criminal trial, there's both a judge and a jury. The judge officiates and reads the letter of the law, while the jury offers public opinion and common sense. is an excellent system where the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated. Right. Criminals and corrupt lawyers, for that matter, can use it to their advantage. By any means at their disposal, contribute evidence, calling them imposters as witness, and so on. By such underhand means, who would want to are able to sway the jury, by which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail. But it means that the wrong verdict can be passed. And sadly, it's from time to time, my dear madam. It's simply the reality of the situation. And that's alright. However, those indicted by Lord Von Zieks cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed. Oh my. Though the education may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom, within months they all disappear. Is most Wait, seriously? Disappear? But how? By all manner of misfortune, sir. Perhaps they are trampled under a passing carriage, or perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown. Perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever, perhaps attacked by highwaymen. Oh, no. All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo. So if we try to get the client not guilty, you're saying that he might die. At what? I knew it. Oh, dead, Dodo, done for, doomed. When you said accursed lodgings before, you were referring to your room at Mr. Garredeb's house, I assume. Do you mean to say that you believe the place is cursed? It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain. I've only been in London a week before I started. Noticed strange things in myself. That didn't take long then? Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure that people were talking about me. I started to become nervous and going outside. And they were always staring at me, all the time, from the dusk till dusk on. So I shut myself away in the room, even to know that it didn't help, the fear wouldn't go away. You must have been very lonely, having been away from your homeland for such a long time. Had to move a number of times, most recently, into that room up Briar Road a week ago. Yes, why did you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient. Rent is cheap and I had little so money. It appeared to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. Landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed." Oops. Quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late. So I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it. If not, don't mention it in the first place." Well said. Yes. It was true. It was all true. You mean the room is really cursed then? Since I moved into that windowless hellhole. My sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I wake with feeling as though I've been choked to death. My waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer, thrown into prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. If only there was someone, just one person on my side. Can no one find in his or her heart to believe in me? Really, no one at all? To believe, yes, to believe. Mr. Sholmes. Me, Mr. Naruhodo. Pray, what can I do for you? About the case on the SS Buria, if you recall. The Buria, the Buria. That case. No, with the snake. Close enough. Well, yes. At that time I was the suspect, but you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. And you helped us to investigate. I did I? Interesting. What I want to know is, why? Why did you believe me? I see, yes, you mean. Because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow with found with the victim in a locked room? Well, if you like, yes. I'm a little surprised that the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said I didn't do it, but I couldn't have been lying. Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little. I think perhaps you misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor that you wished you were telling me. What? You see, the only thing I believe in are those I choose to believe in. What? What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Make up my own mind what is believed and what is not. If I should like to believe in something I do, the circumstances can hang as far as I'm concerned. But I could have betrayed your trust. Ha 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 ha. In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse in my opinion. Meaning? Whether or not one should trust another is the final analysis down to oneself. It's a matter of whether or not can trust oneself. Yes, he's right. Locum student Mr. Narho Esquire. Whether or not I can believe myself. Defense lawyer's good as his faith as in his client. And that comes to how much faith he has in himself. Yeah, Kazuma. You were so right, Kazuma. What now? Well, my dear fellows, it is time that we were leaving, I believe. Already? Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There is a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me? Oh dear, there is never enough time, is there? Mr. Natsume, if you like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you. Welcome, student, Mr. Narho Esquire. As I said, I only experienced a British courtroom for the first time yesterday. Although the man I was presenting was not found guilty, I lost sight of something crucial. Something crucial? What I had to believe in, the defendant, justice or the truth. How to believe, even. But I think I finally worked it out. I decided I must believe in myself above all else, to trust my instincts. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. It's imperative that we can prove that in court. Look, go student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I'll fight for your innocence until the bitter end, and with every weapon available to me. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow. As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me, my native tongue. Yes, of course, Mr. Natsume. It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was in many ways made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end. Gah! Mrs. Sato. Yes? Will you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court? Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant. The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind, but it's time to stop looking backwards. Cosmo believed in me, and Mr. Sholmes believes in me now, too. So it's time that I learn to believe in myself. Seki-san has no one. He's all alone, so it's my job to help him to fight in his corner. Tomorrow in the courtroom, with all the strength I can muster. Alright, Jesus, this was a long-ass episode. Alright, I think that'll be it for today's episode. So next time on great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We're hoping that we can start the trial, and hopefully my voice doesn't hurt. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys all next time.